Why do we have everything we ever wanted and still feel lost? Never before has life been so convenient. Our homes are warm, our devices are fast, and our desires are only a click away. Yet beneath this comfort, something aches, a hollow silence that grows louder each year. We have mastered the art of living easily, but forgotten how to live deeply. The modern world promised liberation, freedom from tradition, from hunger, from struggle. But somewhere in that freedom, we misplaced our reason for being. We became comfortable but restless, surrounded by stimulation but starved of meaning. Happiness, once a byproduct of living truthfully, has become a goal in itself, a product, an algorithm, a target to optimize. And in chasing it, we have forgotten what it feels like to simply be. To understand why we feel so lost, we have to ask, what happened to the stories that once told us who we are? Once, meaning wasn't a mystery. It was woven into the stories that shaped civilization. Ancient people didn't ask, what is my purpose? They lived it, through rituals, family, faith, and community. The farmer tilled not just soil but destiny. The warrior defended not just land but lineage. Existence was framed by something larger than the individual. But over time, our shared myths, religious, cultural, even national, began to crumble. Science explained what once felt sacred. Technology replaced ritual with efficiency. And in the name of progress, we dismantled the scaffolding that held our inner worlds together. We gained knowledge, but lost wisdom. We gained freedom, but lost direction. Now we stand alone in the ruins of the sacred, free to define ourselves, but with no map to guide us. The weight of meaning has shifted entirely onto the individual, and not everyone can carry it. We no longer ask, what do we belong to? We ask, who am I? And the answer changes every day. And as our inner world cracks, the outer one floods us with more noise than we can bear. We live in an ocean of information, yet we drown in ignorance. Each day we scroll through more content than our ancestors consumed in a lifetime. We are flooded with facts, headlines, opinions, and images. But the flood does not nourish, it erodes. Knowledge without reflection becomes noise. Data without wisdom becomes distraction. We mistake the quantity of information for the quality of understanding. The result is psychological fragmentation. We jump from crisis to meme, from outrage to laughter, from meaning to meaninglessness in seconds. The mind no longer rests. It refreshes. Our attention, the most sacred currency of consciousness, has been divided into fragments and sold to the highest bidder. And when attention dies, meaning dies with it. The human soul was not designed for infinite input. It was designed for rhythm, for silence and story, for contrast between the ordinary and the sacred. But in the endless stream, everything blurs together. And when everything matters a little, nothing matters enough. And perhaps the cruelest irony of all is that in this hyper-connected world, we've never been more alone. We are surrounded by millions yet starved for belonging. Social media promised connection, a global village where everyone could speak. Instead, it gave us a marketplace of self, a place where identity is performance and attention is currency. We share not to connect, but to be seen. We speak not to express, but to exist. We scroll through curated lives, comparing our behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. And somewhere between validation and emptiness, our sense of self erodes. Loneliness today isn't just the absence of company, it's the absence of resonance. We can be in a crowded room or a bustling feed and still feel invisible because no one truly sees us, only our projection. In ancient times, the village gathered around the fire, sharing warmth and story. Now the fire glows from a screen, distant, impersonal, endless. And yet the ache remains the same, to belong to something real. This is the quiet collapse of meaning, a spiritual famine disguised as abundance. We have conquered hunger and disease, but not despair. We have infinite information but little understanding. We are freer than ever, yet enslaved by our need to matter. And beneath the noise, the modern soul whispers one question into the digital void. If nothing is sacred anymore, why do I feel like something is missing? Once upon a time, staying alive was meaning enough. Early humans didn't question their purpose. Each sunrise carried its own command. Hunt, build, protect, rest. Every action was stitched into the fabric of survival, and survival was purpose. But comfort changed the equation. The more secure life became, the more restless the mind grew. When hunger faded and danger receded, the ancient question returned. Now that I am safe, why am I here? Our biology evolved for survival, not satisfaction. It expects challenge, struggle, community. Yet modern life offers isolation and ease. The very progress that freed us from Nature has severed us from the natural rhythm of effort and reward. We live longer, but without a story to live for. And that missing story leads us to the greatest shift in human consciousness, the collapse of transcendence. For most of history, humans looked up to understand life. The sacred wasn't a superstition, it was orientation. Religion, myth, and ritual created a cosmic map that placed the human soul within something vast and meaningful. Whether you called it God, nature, or destiny, there was always something above to guide what was below. But with the dawn of reason and the rise of science, that map was redrawn. The heavens were no longer the home of gods, but galaxies. The universe stopped speaking in symbols and started speaking in numbers. Nietzsche warned, "God is dead, and we have killed him." He didn't celebrate it, he feared what would follow. When the old stories vanish, values lose their gravity. Without transcendence, morality becomes preference, purpose becomes productivity, and suffering loses context. We replaced the sacred with the measurable. The soul became psychology, wisdom became data, and mystery became marketing. In this silence left by the divine, the modern mind floats, free but anchorless. And without an anchor above, we turned inward, only to find something fractured. The self was never meant to hold the whole weight of meaning. For centuries, who you were was defined with others: family, tribe, belief, craft. Today, identity is a DIY project. We are told to be ourselves, but nobody explains which self that is. We curate digital versions of who we wish to be, shifting personas for each audience. The result is a kaleidoscope identity, brilliant, flexible, and utterly exhausting. This fragmentation leaves the modern person split between roles: the performer and the observer, the creator and the consumer, the public mask and the private void. Each demands energy, validation, and control, and yet none feels real. We scroll through our own lives like strangers, searching for the piece that fits. The ancient question, "Who am I?" has become an algorithmic loop. Which version gets the most likes? In chasing uniqueness, we've lost unity. And as the self fractures, we cling to the only story that still seems to work: progress. Progress once meant hope. Now it means hurry. We worship the new, the faster, the more efficient. Innovation has become our religion, technology our miracle. We believe that if we just keep moving forward, meaning will appear on the next update. But endless advancement without direction is motion without purpose. The myth of progress promises that happiness lies just beyond the next achievement, the next purchase, the next follower count, the next technological leap. In this worldview, enough becomes blasphemy. Stillness feels like failure. Rest feels like regression. We measure worth in output and identity in metrics, yet progress has no finish line. The more we chase the future, the more the present feels empty. We forget that tools were meant to serve the soul, not replace it. That speed was meant to free us for contemplation, not erase it. Progress is beautiful, but without wisdom it becomes an idol built from our own reflection. And so the modern human stands at a strange intersection, freed from necessity, yet enslaved by restlessness, surrounded by knowledge, yet starved for wisdom, empowered to define meaning, yet terrified to choose one. The meaning crisis is not simply a cultural condition. It's an evolutionary one. We have outgrown the myths that once held us together, but have not yet matured into the consciousness that can live without them. We are drowning in pleasure, yet starving for joy. Every day we chase small bursts of satisfaction, the notification, the sale, the like, the praise. Each moment brings a flicker of reward, but it fades as quickly as it arrives. The brain resets, demanding another. The human nervous system, once tuned to survive the wilderness, now navigates a carnival of stimulation. What once felt rare, novelty, comfort, attention, has become endless. But the more available pleasure becomes, the less fulfilling it feels. Dopamine, the brain's fuel for pursuit, is never meant to deliver peace, only promise it. The result is a constant low-level hunger. The more we consume, the emptier we become. We call it entertainment, convenience, progress, but often it's just a subtle addiction to distraction. The screen glows, the sound chimes, and for a brief instant we feel alive. Then it vanishes. Pleasure was meant to reward life. Now it replaces it. And this endless chase leads to the next great paradox of the modern mind. Freedom that feels like imprisonment. Freedom should feel liberating. So why does it feel overwhelming? The modern person has more options than any generation before: where to live, what to believe, who to become. But abundance of choice doesn't create meaning. It multiplies confusion. Each decision becomes a referendum on identity. What does this say about me? The ego turns every option into a test of self-worth. The result is paralysis, the silent terror of choosing wrong. In ancient life, identity was given. Today it must be built from scratch, curated like an art project. You're expected not only to succeed, but to be authentic, fulfilled, and visible while doing it. And so we hesitate. We second-guess. We scroll through infinite lives, wondering if ours measures up. Too much freedom without structure becomes chaos. Too many paths without purpose become noise. Modern freedom has freed us from authority, but not from anxiety. And so we turn to the easiest measure of worth we know, comparison. The ancient world had gods. We have influences. We no longer pray to divine beings. We scroll through idealized humans. Each face, each success story, each perfect life becomes a mirror reflecting our own inadequacy. Comparison is not new. It's evolutionary, but social media has industrialized it. Every swipe invites silent judgment. Am I enough? The modern person lives inside a permanent popularity contest with invisible rules and no finish line. Validation has replaced meaning. The algorithm feeds on our attention, and our attention feeds on our insecurities. We become trapped in a psychological feedback loop, one that rewards appearance over substance, performance over authenticity. In this system, self-worth becomes a currency. But when worth depends on approval, peace becomes impossible. Even self-improvement, once noble, turns toxic. Growth becomes a game of optics. Who meditates more beautifully? Who heals faster? Who's the most authentic? And all the while, the deeper self grows silent, unheard beneath the noise of performance. But there is something even subtler than comparison. Something that corrodes meaning not through noise, but through the absence of stillness itself. The modern world never stops. From morning to night, every moment is filled, monetized, and measured. The spaces that once held silence, walking, eating, resting, have been replaced by scrolling, watching, and doing. Ancient cultures understood something we've forgotten: the necessity of sacred time, moments set apart from productivity, where the soul could breathe. Sabbaths, festivals, meditation, prayer, these weren't luxuries. They were the architecture of meaning. Today, stillness feels uncomfortable because it threatens the illusion of control. The ego fears what it cannot manage: silence, solitude, nothingness. And yet, it is in that nothingness where meaning begins, a moment of still awareness, unfilled by noise, reveals something modernity cannot manufacture: presence. When every second is consumed by doing, we forget how to be. When life becomes a checklist, we forget that its value isn't in its length but in its depth. Meaning is not built in motion. It is discovered in stillness, in pauses where the noise falls away and the quiet truth emerges, that we are not lost because we lack purpose, but because we've forgotten how to listen. Emptiness is not the enemy. It is a mirror. It shows us what happens when the surface expands faster than the soul. We are a species overstimulated, yet undernourished, connected yet unseen, free yet afraid. We seek meaning in consumption, validation, and distraction, and the more we find, the less it satisfies. This is the psychology of emptiness, a mind that has everything to live with, but nothing to live for. But the story doesn't end there, because within this emptiness lies an invitation to rediscover the deeper roots of being that cannot be bought, optimized, or performed. When meaning disappears, intensity takes its place. Modern life is full of substitutes for purpose: careers that promise fulfillment, movements that promise identity, lifestyles that promise enlightenment. We chase them not because they satisfy us, but because they distract us from the silence underneath. Work becomes worship. Productivity becomes morality. We measure our worth by our output, our purpose by our performance. The modern mantra whispers, "If I stay busy enough, I won't have to feel empty." Ideologies become emotional homes. People gather not around truth, but around shared anger or belonging. Politics replaces spirituality. Outrage replaces conviction. We crave something to believe in, even if it divides us, because belief, even false, feels safer than emptiness. Every substitute tries to cover the same wound, the longing for meaning that no system, brand, or identity can truly fulfill. And so, in the vacuum of true purpose, we create a new marketplace, one that sells meaning itself. When the soul grows hungry, the world offers fast food, mindfulness apps, vision boards, wellness retreats. They promise peace, purpose, alignment for a price. Spirituality becomes another product in the modern catalogue of self-optimization. We meditate not to awaken, but to perform calmness. We journal to manifest outcomes, not to understand ourselves. The search for stillness becomes another way to fill time, but true meaning can't be consumed. It can only be lived. And the more we try to buy transcendence, the further we drift from it. Ancient wisdom warned about this inversion, when the sacred becomes a service. The modern self, desperate for healing, often ends up decorating its own prison. Still, the desire behind the search is real. Beneath every trend lies a cry, I want to feel whole again. And when meaning can't be bought, many turn to the oldest escape of all, numbness. If you can't find meaning, you'll settle for distraction. We binge watch, scroll, shop and work not for joy, but for anesthesia. The goal is no longer to feel alive, it's to feel less. In a world that demands constant engagement, avoidance becomes the only relief. We call it entertainment, but it's really sedation. Hours vanish into glowing rectangles. Days pass in cycles of consumption and fatigue. Even pleasure becomes mechanical. Comfort food, dopamine loops, endless scrolling, all to mute the quiet ache of purposelessness. The more we avoid the void, the more powerful it becomes. Emptiness doesn't go away when ignored. It expands. And somewhere deep down we know it. We sense that our distractions are thin, that our busyness is brittle, that behind the noise something sacred waits for us, patient, persistent, unfulfilled. But silence terrifies us because it reveals truth, and truth demands change. And so we return to the mirror, to the realization that the meaning crisis is not just a personal failure, but a cultural reflection. Every personal breakdown mirrors a collective one. The loneliness, anxiety, and confusion we feel aren't just symptoms of individual weakness. They're signals of a civilization losing its story. We are not merely depressed or distracted. We are disoriented. For centuries, we lived inside grand narratives that told us what mattered. Religion, nation, family, progress, each offered a compass. But now those compasses point in every direction at once. Without a shared sense of meaning, we drift. Each person building a private myth, a personal brand, a handcrafted purpose. And though this freedom feels empowering, it isolates us. Meaning cannot survive in isolation. It is a relational experience, something we build with others, not for ourselves. The meaning crisis is not the end of faith, it's the beginning of awareness. It's the moment we realize that external systems cannot save us, and that true meaning isn't given. It's discovered through participation in life itself. Our emptiness is not proof of failure. It's a sign of awakening, a deep intuition that the surface-level stories no longer fit the size of the human soul. We are a generation standing between worlds, the old stories fading, the new ones not yet born. And in that in-between space, we feel both lost and alive. Perhaps that is the paradox of our time. Meaning is not disappearing, it's transforming. It no longer resides in institutions, but in awareness, not in belief, but in being. The crisis isn't telling us to find something to believe in. The meaning crisis isn't a problem to solve, it's a signal to listen to. We keep trying to fix the emptiness with more effort, more information, more self-improvement. But what if the cure isn't addition but subtraction? What if meaning begins when noise ends? The mind that never stops talking cannot hear the subtle music of being. When you pause, really pause, you begin to notice what has always been here. Breath, sensation, silence, awareness. Meaning hides in plain sight. It lives in the spaces between distractions. In the moment you stop reaching and simply notice. To awaken from the noise is not to withdraw from the world, but to see it clearly. Awareness doesn't remove responsibility, it transforms it. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop chasing and start participating. For the first time, you're not trying to extract meaning from life. You're allowing life to express meaning through you. And in that still awareness, something ancient reawakens, the human need to belong. We are not meant to be alone in our searching. For thousands of years, belonging meant conformity, believing what others believed, doing what others did. But true belonging doesn't require sameness. It requires presence. To belong without dogma means to connect without control. That's the ability to sit with others, not because they think like you, but because they are like you, alive and uncertain. Meaning grows where connection flows. It's not found in ideology, but in empathy. Not in shared belief, but in shared being. We've mistaken community for consensus, but the heart doesn't need agreement. It needs resonance. In belonging, you discover that your life is not a solo project. The same awareness that looks through your eyes looks through every other. When that truth is felt, not as an idea but as an experience, the world ceases to be a crowd of strangers and becomes a living mirror, and through that mirror, meaning returns. But awareness and belonging alone are not enough. Meaning also demands participation, the courage to create. Meaning is not something you find. There's something you make. Every act of creation, from painting to parenting, writing to kindness, is an answer to chaos. It says, I am here and I choose to shape the world with care. Modern life trains us to consume, to watch, to scroll, to collect. But consumption can never replace contribution. When you create even quietly, you rejoin the ancient rhythm of life, the exchange between giving and receiving. Creation doesn't need to be grand. It can be the meal you cook with attention, the garden you nurture, the conversation you listen to deeply. Creation is any moment when you stop asking life for meaning and start offering meaning to life. To create is to participate in the sacred, to take chaos and return beauty. And in that act, the soul begins to remember itself. And once creation becomes natural, something softer, something older, begins to return, wonder. The greatest tragedy of modern life isn't that we suffer, it's that we no longer marvel. We scroll past sunsets, rush through conversations, and analyze moments that were meant to be felt. The child within us, the one who once saw magic in rain and stars, was educated out of wonder. But wonder is not childish. It is the purest form of intelligence. It's the recognition that existence itself is impossible, and yet here it is. To feel wonder is to kneel before the mystery without needing to solve it. For it's to stand in awe knowing you will never fully understand, and to love that fact. When wonder returns, meaning follows naturally. Because in wonder, you are no longer the observer of life, you are part of it. Gratitude, joy, and reverence all flow from the same source, the recognition that being is a miracle. And when you live from that awareness, even the smallest acts, drinking water, seeing light, breathing air, feel sacred. The path beyond the meaning crisis isn't about rebuilding the old world of certainty. It's about learning to live beautifully inside uncertainty. Meaning was never lost. It was only buried beneath noise, distraction, and fear. When you grow still enough, you can hear it again. The quiet pulse of life reminding you that you belong, that you matter, that you are. We are not empty because life has no meaning. We are empty because we have forgotten how to feel it. And so the invitation is simple. Stop running, stop searching. Sit in the silence long enough to remember that the meaning you seek has been breathing with you all along. You are not here to find meaning as if it were hidden somewhere out there. You are here to become meaning, to live as awareness, to love as connection, and to